Good morning, Dellmarie.
Good morning. He honey washted. I'm better washted to all of you. It's been a while since I was able to be on the radio, but we had a very very good gathering and ceremonies last month, which is probably a month ago. But let's start off with a quick prayer, because just so much needs to be said today. And good morning to all of you. Am petule tonkashila akewayak upunka elhui am petue ohina shimpunka oda daku shichin ha daku chante shicha umhina tonkashila awayanka na ha wocheke yeo yampina tonkashila na okiji umbi tonkashila na ha am petulwa ha am petu wan wiak upe ha ina taku washte erna unjung te tunkashila wiyukujana ha taku echunkum hina you ha washte te ho hechetu tunkashila. All right, boy, we had a busy whirlwind few days last month for ceremonies and gatherings, and I just wanted to say I think all of the participants or people that were there for Mitankala's Hamblecha, the Vision Quest, all had their own personal experiences, and I just wanted to go ahead and say I think with prayers, as I process my whole time there was a lot of messages coming through for me, and I just wanted to share a lot. I want everybody to kind of think about, close your eyes and think about what it's like to be around a campfire and the serenity of a very nice, cool evening as we were preparing for Inipi, when we're all standing around and watching the ambers flick from the fire going. As I was standing there around the fire and just watching, I thought about the little flicker of the ambers going up in the air, and I was mesmerized by that, and I just really realized, as way later, it was like, oh my goodness, these are our prayers going up. They are going up, and so I thought about that, and of course, it was just a real happy occasion. It was just a wonderful experience, and for me, this is the first time I've ever been around a hamblecha that was done in the Inipi, and so it was kind of a very interesting thing for me. And as we all know, people have their own ceremonial ways to do things, and so it was kind of nice to really actually see what was happening. But one good thing about it was we kept Denise away from the wilderness, because apparently Guy had said there was mountain lions,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was one of the reasons why she was put in a Inipi. And that was kind of a good experience for me, just to know. I mean, I guess it felt good to know that, she was close by. She was close by the fire, and she was being protected by the fire keepers.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel, Denise?
Well, it felt good to be in the Inipi and knowing that all of my sisters, my Chues, were around me, and my nephew George was just outside, and Kevin was just outside tending the fire. And I've done the Hamblecha, the Vision Quest, out in the wilderness on top of the hill, literally. And I can say that having that Hamblecha inside the Inipi was very, very potent because it's you inside that inipi, so it's not the great outdoors for some of that energy to dissipate or be held in a larger space. It's all within that space of inipi. So Wopila to my brother Guy as well, and also to Ivan Looking Horse, and to all of my nieces and nephews, and you and Della for helping to prepare me, and Barbara for helping to prepare me for that. Chue, for those that don't know what an inipi is, would you describe what that is?
The way I would probably describe it is the way I was taught or the way it was told to me. An inipi is again a little structure that pretty much symbolizes the womb of the Mother Earth, and we pretty much go in there to give all our prayers, whatever it is. But it's a little structure, and again, the poles, the wood that's used, or the branches that are used, there's like 16 of them, and that signifies a lot. But mainly the main purpose of the inipi is a place where we do our prayers, we give it back to the Creator through Mother Earth. And for me, that was just an awesome time for me to be back and to go into inipi, because boy, I needed that nurturance of Unchimaka. I think one of the things is I just, as I was thinking about it, you have been nurtured all night by Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm. I sure was. Mother Earth and Iktomi.
Yes. And one of the things that I mean, again, it was just a whirlwind of events, but as I thought about it, played the whole thing over, and the way the answers came to me, the funny thing about it is I had a dream, and there was a voice, but again, it turned into my father, and he was telling me, I didn't really think about this, but as he was saying in my dream, he said, all the mosquitoes that were there, remember we got bit up by mosquitoes? I know I did.
Yeah.
But in my dream, he is telling me, he said, chapunka is what we call mosquitoes. And he was telling me, he said, chapunka niachtakabhina, which he said, they bite you, and he said they leave little lumps on your, I mean, as he's describing in Lakota, he's saying, they leave little lumps, he said, and the way I could interpret that was, he said, that's annoyance, that just like anything in life, he said, it's annoyance. He said, annoying situations of life, and he said, you're going to get bit by many things, but he said, if you really think about it, he said, if you look at it, he said, they heal. And that was kind of a good message for me to think about, is just because, there was a reason. I think we didn't think deeper into that, but, with us standing around out there before we went into the Inipi God, those mosquitoes were just annoying.
They sure were.
And I mean, that was a message I got through my dreams. And I thought, oh my goodness, I didn't think about it that way, Mm-hmm. And all he said was, "Ito kasnyo." He said, those annoyances. He said, go away. And I'm thinking about that. Oh yeah, we have a lot of little things that prick us, or that makes us react to different things, or it's a little itch for a bit. But if we all think about that, there's going to be life annoyances, with little mosquitoes, or people, as we may call them, or little situations, but, they're going to go away.
Right.
So that was quite a dream that I had. And the other thing about going out to the Sundance, I didn't get to partake in the Sundance, but if everybody could think about the arbor, the circular structure that was out there where the Sundance people are, while the dances, and as I see it and the way I look at it, and if you remember all the four directions that the dancers stood at, Denise, I think you can probably explain a little bit as to what happened, because I was there for the morning after we took the burritos there, and was there just to see the dancers come out, and then I left, and then I was busy for the rest of the time. But as I was sitting there, saying my prayers again, and I had really thought about the circle of life. Now, people really don't. I mean, I know there was a time they had asked me, what's the difference between a medicine wheel, a changleshka, and the circle of life. Well, these are two of the things that I know that I have been told. When we think about the circle of life, it's basically you put yourself in a circle, the continuance of life. And as the dancers go in four directions, it's almost kind of like the time that they are supposed to pray from the time they could remember as a child, because there's four stages of life. And that's being a child, an infant, a child, and adulthood, and then you get to where you become an old person. Mm-hmm. So those are the four stages that we see, that we use in the circle of life to say how we go, and those are some of the prayers that if they're taught properly, or I wouldn't say taught properly, but these are some of the things that were explained to me as you go into the Sundance. These are the four things that you think about and pray about from the memories or the things that pained you, as you remember when you were a child, and then, you go, and then you send out prayers for everybody. So I'm not really sure how you saw the dance and proceed.
Well, for me, the four directions are very important at the Sundance, as are the Star Nations and Grandmother Earth and all those sacred spirits, the Wakanwashte that walk in between. What always touches my heart when I'm at a Sundance is to feel the love of the sun dancers. Because the sun dancers are out there. They're praying for so many people. They're praying for people who are ill. They're praying for their community. They're praying for relatives and friends. And you can see the depth of their sincerity. And you can feel, toward the end, you can feel how connected they are to their own spirit, to their own soul. And all of creation, when we're not allowed to touch them or to be near them, you can feel just how sacred it is. And they're just giving of themselves so much that it's hard not to be moved. And I'm always moved by the elders that are out there still sundancing in their 60s and 70s. And you can see all of the years and the wisdom of the Sundances have built up in their eyes and in the way that they dance and pray on behalf of not themselves necessarily, but for everybody else. That's the part that always moves me the most, Chue.
I think as I know I've never Sundanced, and I don't think I ever will. I just really realize, but I know my heart is into it when I'm out there watching the dancers sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the whole, and that's even with the animals. Nature, I know there was a lot of fires going, and way later, talking to going to the cook shack there and everything else, there was just a lot of concern over the fires that were going on and the flooding. I mean, and in fact, one of the ladies that didn't dance but who participated, or was there to support, had said they had gone into the NEP, and they had that told them that that there was going to be a lot of fires and flooding, to pray real hard, and of course, as we see it now, there's just a lot of flooding out in the east, and all the fires out in the west.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the predictions are the things that Tunkashila show us. We try to understand, and we know some of the things that we need to pray for. But I think every individual out there gets your own message in regards to when they're preparing that whole year.
Right, and preparation is part of the ceremonies, and a lot of people don't realize that you have to prepare yourself, whether it's me going into the Hamblecha, the Vision Quest, or a sun dancer, or whatever it happens to be. We prepare ourselves to be in those ceremonies and to be walking with Spirit. Why is it so important? Why have you learned through, the older relatives about the importance of preparing yourself for these things, Chue?
Well, I think it's the sincerity of your commitment, your vows that you've taken, for various reasons why people choose to sun dance. When they offer that tobacco to the medicine man or the spiritual leader or whoever conducts these ceremonies, the way I was taught and the way it used to be was when my father was preparing for Hamblecha, it was even a whole year's preparation, the mind frame. I guess it's almost kind of like the meditation that you keep with you to learn how to calm your mind and to know why you're going to do that in preparation. Mm-hmm. But I think it's totally the sincerity of knowing that you are going to be committed to sacrificing yourself for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so the preparation ahead of time, I remember watching my dad, in the mornings there was, every day I think was prayers, Mm-hmm. I remember him going out, getting ready, and then also, the tobacco ties. As he sat there, we couldn't even talk to him during that time, and he sat there, in preparation, just, smudging his pipe, his peace pipe and everything else, but yeah, I've seen where, we couldn't even talk to him, we couldn't even, disturb him, when he was in his way of knowing that, okay, this is one of the few minutes that I've got to go ahead and do this, Mm-hmm. Even to put out food, every meal that he had, or we had, he had to put food out for the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So those are just some of the commitments. How sincere are you, for your prayers,
Mm-hmm.
So those are just some of the things. But as I watched the circle of life there, I sat there, looked at the arbor there, and all the flags, and one of the things that I think some of the listeners already knew about, which I talked about, but again, I will mention it again. In the middle of that circle at the Sundance ground is a tree of life. There's a tree, and it's usually a cottonwood tree. And that tree is usually picked out by a virgin. There is a young gal that's a virgin that would go ahead and touch the tree to pick out the tree that's going to go into the middle for the people. And so they call it Tree Day when they cut down the tree, and they bring this tree, and everybody hangs your prayer flags on it. And the reason why they use a young gal and for her to be much of the participant for the Tree of Life is from the beginning. They say the woman, the female, was chosen to be the life giver. And so for the beginning, they say Wiya, which means we is the sun, and Ea is the rock, the stone from the beginning of time. And because of that, she is chosen to know that she will give life. So when we see that tree in the middle, it's a tree of life.
Mm-hmm.
That tree is put up. That tree is put up with some people haven't noticed, but there's always a little buffalo and a little man tied to the treetop. Sometimes you could see him. Some people notice him, and some people don't. But there's always those things, because those were the beginning of life too. Is the buffalo and the man.
Mm-hmm.
So that tree of life, actually, like I said, all the prayer flags, go on there, whatever, you want to pray for and whatever. So it's always important for people to want to get out there for Tree Day,
Mm-hmm.
When they're ready to hoist up the tree.
It's a beautiful ceremony to watch. One of the things years ago, a long time ago now, the first time I went up on the hill for Humblecha, as I was going up the hill, Joaquin said to me, remember that when we go into ceremonies, when we come back, we are never ever the same. We're just not the same. So you're not going to be the same woman when you come off that hill as the woman you are going up the hill. And I think that applies to a lot of sacred ceremonies from a lot of different traditions. Why is it that you feel, Del, that we are never the same after a ceremony?
I think for me, it's almost like, how would you say, you graduate, you move up to another level of intellectual level, is what I would probably say. But it seemed to me you have your own experience, whatever it is, and that makes you a believer to know the mysteries of life, that there's miracles, there's things that we don't know exist, and you experience your own sacredness. I don't know if it's a message, if you see something or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that changes your whole life to make you a believer that there is more out there. There's probably another dimension or different higher level of life.
Right.
And we don't know that. And I, for myself, like I said, I never humbleched or did the Sundance, but anytime I go into a ceremony and I've pray a lot, I have my own experiences. Like I say, is through my prayers do my answers come. Am I being told what these things symbolizes, or the little lectures I may have through the dreams that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's totally different because you are opening yourself up. And I just over the weekend, my grandsons and we went to the Garden of Gods because it was just basically, we really didn't do anything for a while to be out in nature, and oh my goodness. I don't know if anybody's ever been to the Garden of Gods in Colorado Springs, but we spent the day there, and as much as I couldn't walk, I was able to walk through that place, and there was a time that I sat while the boys took off, and I said my prayers, and it was basically, how would you say, it was kind of enlightening,
Mm-hmm.
and the thought came to me is, you know what, there's more to this, and you are getting closer to home. This is home, but you're going to see home. You're going to see your home. And boy, that was kind of a real weird feeling, or the thought process that came, where is home?
Ah.
But that feeling of longing to be home,
Mm-hmm.
and not here in my apartment, but there was a sense of home.
Wow.
And where is that home?
Right.
And the only thing that I had thought about, oh God, there's a big old universe out there. And then again, there was, my prayers, sometimes I dream, and, it's just like, what I thought about was another dream that I had about Ken, and he was telling me he was in bliss. Oh, Dell, he said, you're gonna like this. He said, you're just all over the universe. He said, you're everything.
Wow.
Wow. And so when I sat there, I'm almost tearing up here.
Yeah.
There's a different, how would you say, it's a different realm that you get yourself into.
Yes.
And
it's a different state of being, a different state of awareness. It's a higher state of awareness. It's closer to the Creator. And, here in West Michigan with Gathering Thunder, we do a lot of work with urban youth and urban elders that don't have the opportunity to be in nature, that don't have a reservation that they can call home. They're living here in the inner city. And I happen to believe that whether you're, living on the reservation or living in the mountains or you're living in the inner city, you can still bring yourself to that state of closeness with Creator. How do you feel about that, Dell?
Oh, well, like I said, I'm starting to understand where I'm at now, from all the teachings I had from my dad as a young child, taking me out there in the woods while he, did his wood chopping or looked for herbs and stuff, and he'd sit me down and just have me say, just sit here, look around you, see what you see, I never understood a lot of that, but now as I see it, in his own way, he was getting me to understand that life forces come from nature.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And to re-energize, even hugging a tree or whatever, it's just basically energizing, I guess. And I always remember him saying, take a deep breath, because he said, Wakantanka, Tonkashila, Kiha, their breath, when that wind blows, take a deep breath, because he said you're inhaling the breath of Wakantanka. And just lately, it's just been like, here's a thought that comes in is, I don't care if we're filled with anxiety, anger, or whatever, but one of the things that we need to do is take a deep breath. We are wasting a lot of that oxygen that's supposed to be good for us, whether the air is bad or not. Take a deep breath.
Absolutely.
So I've been doing that, but again, going back to nature, you will experience it if you're really open to the unknown, I guess is what I'd say. You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
And you just have to allow yourself to believe, And I think a lot of times that, we say we don't believe, but we have to believe in a Creator to give us hope, because we all need hope, to continue our journey in life. Somehow we're hoping, that we would have a better day. Sometimes we're hoping that we have a better life. We're hoping this is going to be good. And I'm hoping one of these times I really understand what home is.
That's a great way to put it.
But I think we're almost short of time here, but I didn't even get to talk about Richard explaining, talking to the people when they got the naming ceremonies. And again, that was just really a neat way that he had put it, was, okay, this is a big commitment, a lifetime commitment, even for the ones that were making the hunka. And the ones that got the names is, like everybody got up there and you prayed on a name, just to help them guide their life, what name is going to be given to guide them, or what does it mean,
Exactly.
And they should hold with that in regards to the name that's given to them, and also to know that your sponsor, your support will be there to guide you.
It was a big commitment and very, very humbling experience, that is for sure. One that I will never forget. And Richard did a beautiful talk about, the importance of the ceremony, of the names, and that it's not to be taken lightly. And he made everybody really come to understand that, sometimes people, they want to have what they might call an Indian name or a spirit name. And there's far more to it than just a name, that you walk with the spirit of that name.
Mm-hmm. Well, just like, when they pass out the cherry juice and the wasna, that's almost like the Holy Communion.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's basically, just those are two of the sacred foods that we offer anywhere where there is a ceremony, or like even to, whichever way we think, whether if it's a funeral, or whatever, it's the elders always say, bring that sacred food in there, because it's supposed to pretty much symbolize giving more to you. I would probably say the life that's given through these two things, the blood or the cherry juice and the wasna,
Yes.
But it was a whirlwind, and like I said, I didn't have time to process it. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I didn't have a lot of time to process what was going on the 4 days, because it was go, and I said, oh my goodness, we all had our own experience. And sometimes you don't want to mention what has happened, because you still are trying to figure out what messages, what the prayers are going, because it doesn't happen instantaneously in regards to your prayers. You're going to have to take a few days, maybe a month, or to process and to know that answers come to you.
That's true. Even, Sandra Herrick, I was speaking with her last week, and she said to me, Dee, I'm not the same. And not in a bad way. It's in a good way. She said, I'm different. Life is different. I see things differently. And I'm still trying to digest and process everything that I received in the ceremonies, as somebody bearing witness and somebody participating, somebody being of service. She said, it's going to take me a while. So it isn't instantaneous all the time. Sometimes it can take a long time. 20/20 vision is an amazing thing, isn't it? When you have the aha moment.
Yeah, basically, and the thing about it is, like again, my message to all of you is you're going to have annoyances like little mosquitoes coming to bite you once in a while.
Yeah.
but you will heal from those bites, and life goes on. You heal every little part of anything that pains you. It will heal, and we just got to be in that mind frame to process that, because that's the only way we're going to find some contentment in our lives, is to know, okay, this too shall pass, is one of the greatest sayings that people always say, this too shall pass.
Oh, yes.
But that was quite an interesting dream that I had about about my dad, this voice, coming to say, about the mosquitoes, explaining to me.
That's a great teaching. That's a great teaching. Thank you, Del. Wopila Chue.
All right. Well, I think we're at the top of the hour.
We are.
And thank you all for listening, who all's listening in. And if you have any questions, again, put it up on my website. And I think we are talking about having a sacred women's ceremony, womanhood ceremony next spring. And so there's going to be some preparation, but I just want to announce that it's going to be in the planning stage. It'll probably be a weekend event. So
here at the School of Sacred Studies.
To that.
Yep.
Excuse me?
Here at the School of Sacred Studies. And you and I are working on the details of all of that. So for those of you that have been wondering, when is Del coming to Michigan? Well, we're working on bringing her here next May to facilitate, and we're hammering out the details right now. So as soon as those are out, we will have those up on the group page at Facebook and also on my website, DeniseIwana.com. We're really looking forward to it, Chue.
All right. Well, I am too, because I think this is basically one of the things is, I mean, even your daughters, if they can comprehend, young kids, your granddaughters or men, think about it. It's just because you could see the meaning of why we hold women sacred and how we should think about ourselves as being sacred. So those are just some of the things, and everybody have a good week, and I will think about a good topic for next month.
Thank you, Del. Have a beautiful day, Chue.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.